Oh boy. Guys, this might actually be the most fun video I've shot for myself. And it might also be the most educational. Like on a serious note, this might be very like financially educational, like socially educational. Like you might just learn a lot about yourself and life in this video. And I don't mean that as a joke. So what we're gonna talk about today is we're just gonna go over, I've printed off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 5 or 6 comments that I found on YouTube videos, and we're gonna go over them. But before we do that, you have to first make it through like a quick little life lesson that I think will help you with Pokemon collecting, investing, with life investing, with life just in general, with your job and everything. And a lot of you are gonna, this is like, I don't know, this is pretty basic information, but not super basic information. So for some of you younger people, this might like help you a lot. And for some of you older people who maybe missed out on a little bit of life, this might help you out too. So before I get to these comments, I think really the lesson that needs to be taught before we can even go into this, and basically this lesson will probably apply to every single one of these comments. And it's something that I basically learned throughout retail, and something that I basically later on in my management career just like was like the number one goal that I would try and instill in people. And I'm trying to think like the best way to word it. And it's basically like, don't shop for the customer. Don't use like your income to base decisions off of like what decisions the customer should make, right? So basically I'll like simplify this. Like, don't short sell the customer just because you yourself think that item is overpriced. Because at the end of the day, it's not for you. It's for the customer. And at the end of the day, if the customer goes home with that product and they are happy with that product, doesn't matter what they spent. And for some people, I'm gonna give you guys an exact example because some people just like can't comprehend this. So most of my time with the later years, like you guys know, I worked with Best Buy, but I kind of worked outside the store with a team. I managed a team that would go in and help people like remodel kitchens, building homes, to design home theaters, high-end kind of stuff. And so every now and then I would kind of go into the store and I would kind of help train in-store employees, and I would kind of just hang around the store and just kind of see if we could kind of hook any customers in store for big high-end sales, kind of set up leads, as we would say. So essentially I was basically, a customer came in, they wanted to make a high-end purchase that day, and I was kind of the best person there to help them. And so I had an employee kind of shadow me as I sold to this gentleman. And basically, every time we would get to something, I'd sell him the most expensive version. Like the TV, you want the TV? Okay, we're gonna get you the G2. We're gonna get you a whole new, like he didn't want actual like surround sound with wired, so we got him a whole new Sonos setup, everything, right? So it ended up being like, with installation and everything, I don't know, I wanna say it was like $6 to $7 grand, right? So then the employee there, you know, he goes off and he's like talking with his daughter, or the customer's talking with his daughter and everything. They're like getting everything figured out before they check out. And the employee is just like, this guy, like the customer hasn't seen the total yet, right? And so the employee's like, oh my God, this guy's gonna freak when he sees the total, right? Like this customer's gonna be asking you to take stuff off. Like the employee was basically worried that we had oversold this customer and that he was gonna freak out when he saw the total, right? Because this guy was about to go just drop like, you know, $8 grand on just like a home theater setup, which, you know, in my job, you know, outside the store, that, you know, to me, that's nothing. I've seen I've seen people spend hundreds of grands, you know, so to me, I was just like, no, you're thinking with your head, because in your mind, you can't fathom spending $8 grand on a home theater set. So customer comes back up, and I basically tell him like, hey, we have the service, we can install everything for you, blah, blah, blah. It's gonna cost you a little bit more, but we'll install everything. And the customer goes, you know what? That's awesome. And I also want to take everything I bought and I want to double it, because we're going to do a setup downstairs and a setup upstairs. So this customer basically ended up spending like $17,000 with us in this one transaction, and he ended up just doubling it off the bat. And the employee next to me, her jaw almost like hit the floor when he told me, like, he said he wanted to just double everything because he was going to do upstairs and downstairs. Like, she couldn't fathom it. And it's because she was shopping with her brain, right? She couldn't fathom spending 18 grand on a home theater because she probably made, after taxes, she probably made 25 grand a year, right? Because she was just like a regular sales employee, right? They're not making bank. They're not making commission. So this person in front of her had just spent basically her entire year's income on a home theater setup. And that's what I'm like trying to like bring to this, right? Is to some people, when they see people buying a Greninja for $250, they like lose their minds. They think it's like the most insane thing ever. They can't comprehend why anybody would ever spend that much money on a card. When at the end of the day, there's people who could go buy 10 Greninjas and it's like they make that in a day. So what people need to do, and it's really hard for people to do this, is they need to just stop thinking as yourself. You need to realize that like you're not the center of the universe, and like guess what? There's people who make what you make in a year in like a week, in a day. Like, so just because you can't fathom something doesn't mean the rest of us can't fathom it. And that's like when you need to kind of realize, like, I don't know, like you need to like humble yourself a little bit, right? So that's really the lesson, and like the smart people will understand what I'm saying. The dumb people will complain about how people shouldn't be that rich or something stupid like that. So hopefully that, like, I know that was kind of like a really, but like, I think that something can be taken away from that if you haven't, like, most people will kind of already know this kind of stuff, but it's amazing how many people out there don't. So now we're gonna get to the fun part. Oh my god. So basically, I don't know if I told you guys, but they're remodeling the store that my girlfriend works for. So she's part of like the inventory and back warehouse team. So she has to kind of oversee that stuff. So she's basically having to go into work at like 4 a.m. So I'm up at 3, 4 a.m. because like she's up and moving, and it is what it is. So I'm up on watching YouTube, Reddit. Like, again, I don't advise anybody go on Reddit, but if you just kind of want to read it and see the state of things, it's kind of crazy. But what I did is I watched this one particular video about a Greninja card, and the comments, whoo, they had me going. So we're gonna go over them today, and then I'm gonna comment my thoughts on them, and we can all laugh together. And hopefully you can see how the story I told before this applies to the Greninja and a lot of things in Pokemon and in life. So, and also, I want to start with this comment first. I wanted the Greninja because it's my son's favorite Pokemon. A YouTuber said it was going to be an $80 card, so I didn't pull the trigger at $120. I want to start with that comment because I've stressed so many times, and this is an even bigger stressor: do not listen to YouTubers. You can listen, right? Get feedback, take it into consideration, but my God, if you are depending on YouTubers to make financial decisions, and you are a grown adult with children, that terrifies me. That literally scares me. That you have a child and you, like, are you asking YouTubers how to raise your child? Like, oh my goodness. Okay, next one. Okay, I should also preface before this next statement. I've played WoW since like vanilla. I don't. It's embarrassing how much WoW I've played. Basically, I would, when I still had like a corporate job, I would base my schedule around my raid schedule. And every time a new expansion would come out, I would save my PTO to take 2 weeks of PTO for the new expansions. Okay, so I've played a lot of WoW. This guy goes, I think there's a lot easier ways to make money than try to manipulate Pokemon cards. Like, you can bot WoW, sell bulk gold for cheap to sellers, and probably make more for less effort. I can tell that this guy knows nothing about selling Pokemon cards, and he knows nothing about selling gold. There's literally Chinese, like, if you know, oh my god, these people are so uneducated, it's hilarious. If you know anything about like Chinese gold farming, good luck undercutting gold Chinese farmers. Yeah, good luck with that. What's the other one? Oh, I loved this one. Great. Looks like it's time to buy Japanese cards again until Flipper Bros come back on those. Twilight Masquerade booster boxes are still like 100, 110. How do you flip a Greninja? So you buy it at 250, and then what? How do I flip it? Is there a way to flip it? How do I flip it? I get the buying it at 250 part, but how do I flip it? I don't know. Maybe if you could explain that to me, because last time I checked, all the Twilight Masquerade products still in stock. The card's just really hard to pull. So are you saying if I buy a bunch of Twilight Masquerade thing and crack packs, I'll hit a Greninja and then I can flip it? Or maybe there's like a flipping play if I grade it? I don't know. How do I flip the Greninja? I'm just confused how I'm supposed to flip that card. Okay. And then this is the one, this will be the final comment, and I'll kind of elaborate a little bit here about why the Greninja is the price it is and why all these people are wrong. This gentleman or person says, the price is definitely going to crash. If you look at the organic growth of the Magikarp versus Greninja, you can see the market manipulation of this card. You can clearly see it, guys. I really like Greninja, especially Ash's. I don't like the artwork in this card, though. I like the Fables Greninja artwork. Wait, I think the Fables Greninja artwork is 10 times better. Well, bro, if you think it's 10 times better, why aren't you just dumping all your money into those? Like, if you're right, bro, those will skyrocket. Again, this guy is trying to compare the price of an illustration rare Magikarp from a set where special illustrations... Just go look up Danny Phantom's video about the print or the pull rates, right? The IRs are harder to pull. So you're trying to compare an IR to a just insanely hard to pull SIR. Those are two completely... Why would we even compare those two? I don't understand that at all. You want me to compare an illustration rare that the only reason it's really skyrocketing is because they messed up the pull rates and it's harder to get particular IRs in this set than it is SIRs. And then you want me to compare that to an SIR that has an extremely hard pull rate to that of like One Piece manga rares. Why would I compare those two? Anyway, guys, I said it in like 5 videos back. Pokemon needs to go to like the one-hit chase cards, like they did with the Moonbryon, like One Piece does with the manga rares, and guess what? They did it. This is what happens. So again, just because you're poor and you can't afford things and you don't understand why things are the prices they are, doesn't mean they shouldn't be, doesn't mean things are manipulated. I'm sorry. It's just not that way. But, I don't know. This was a fun video. I enjoyed this one. Have a good day, guys.